We're back. We are starting to make our tamales, tamales de res. These are the ones we make seasonally around Christmas time and in the winter. And so it starts with beef, so I'll be preparing the actual tamales tomorrow, but today I have to get started on the meat. So I have in my crock pot a couple of pieces of steak, roast. These salted, these are both salted, peppered. Let me finish the salt and pepper here on this side. And I also have some thyme and some oregano on there. And I'm pretty generous with my spices here, especially with the oregano, which is a very Spanish spice. What did I do with it? There it is. I think that's it. Okay. I'll have those here. Now, time to season, which is an onion. This is a pretty big onion here. I should chop it. Where did my knife go? I'll chop my onion, excuse me. Okay, onion. I have a jalapeno, a green pepper, celery. Oops, there went some celery on the floor. Some carrots for some sweetness. My garlic, I have to find my garlic. Where did I put my garlic? Need to cut open my garlic package here. So this probably has 8 to 10 cloves. I'm gonna throw them all in there. 1 bay leaf. Oh, that smells so good. Probably about a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. Say 1/4 to 1/3, depending on how much you like. There we go. Now my chilies. So this is chile ancho. Here's some guajillos. So there's 2 chile ancho. We'll probably put 4 guajillos in here. 5. I think this is California chili. Put a couple and a beef stock. I think that's it. Basically what I do, oops, I dropped one. Okay, so basically what I do is just get this going. What I might do, just to give it a little bit more of a beefy flavor, is add a big tablespoon of this beef bettered in bouillon, which gives it more beefy flavor, and it's delicious. And then the next step is really cover it and put it on low and just let it cook. I like to let it cook all day, even 24 hours if I can, because then I know the meat is going to be fall apart tender. So we'll get this started and then come back tomorrow and I'll show you the rest. Hi, there's my crock pot. I just turned this meat off. It was boiling. And what I want to do is just take a quick peeky weeky before we start shredding it up. I'm gonna have to let this cool down because it's really hot. And you can see all of my peppers and vegetables and the meat. Just take a look at this. Doesn't that look amazing? That is gonna be so good. So I'm just gonna cover it, let it cool down, come to room temperature before we come back and proceed with the next step. Okay, lots going on today. This is the start of the chili sauce. I have a big sauce pot full of water, about 1½ of these onions, about 8 to 10 garlic cloves, lots of chili. So like, I'm gonna say maybe 8 guajillos, 5 anchos, maybe 4 or 5 Californias in case those aren't guajillos, I don't know. I didn't put New Mexico's in there. I have a bay leaf, a teaspoon of salt, and I'm gonna put some oregano. Maybe a teaspoon of that. Now, the next thing I'll do is bring it to a boil, and then really what I do, once I boil it, I boil it for at least 5 minutes, and then cover it and just simmer it. I just let it sit there cooking for at least 20 minutes. I just want all the chilies to be really soft and all the flavors blended, and I'll come back and show you the next step. So I'm taking the meat out with my tongs and using the best tools God gave us, the fingers, to shred it up. Once I have shredded the meat into this container, I will strain the sauce. So I'll strain the broth out of the rest of the ingredients here because I'm going to use the broth for the next step. So the chilies, I had already deveined and taken all the seeds out when they were dry, so I didn't have to do it now at the end. So really what I'm going to do is take the entire contents of this pot and blend it. So onions, garlic, chilies, and well, like the liquid. Okay, let me get a nice bunch in here. It'll take me a couple of batches to get all of this done. Just put some more onion in here. And I have a ladle for some of the fluid. So basically, put it in the blender, puree it down until it's smooth. Back. So I have all of the pieces and parts together to start this. Here is my masa. I actually went to the store and I asked for 5 libras de masa preparada, which I think is the correct way to say it. And they say, no tengo preparada, tengo normal. So I said, okay, that's good. Here's our shredded beef with a little sauce in there. This is about 5 pounds. It's still chili. I should have taken it out sooner. And my mom said about 1 pound of Crisco. Since I don't have the Crisco large. I found this. It's the Crisco vegetable shortening. I found this. This reminds me of my grandmother. She'd go and buy lard, so I bought it. I know it's not necessarily the healthiest option. But on the other hand, I cut out all of the fat from the meat, so I'm compensating for that. Excuses, right? So this is 1 pound to 5 pounds. The next step is to add some of your liquid back, so some beef stock. And I'm adding in maybe about 1 cup. And some of your chili. I didn't show you this. This is all pureed up, everything I showed you a moment ago. And since this is nice and hot, maybe this will warm up the masa. So I have a huge ladle, and I'm going to put at least 2 ladles in there. And then I'll take a look at it. But you also need salt for flavor. So that's about 1 teaspoon. Since this is a lot, I'm probably going to put in 2 or 3 little handfuls there, teaspoons. You can start to do. The idea here is going to be to mix it all up until it's a nice even mixture and taste it as you go to see if you need to add anything else for flavor. Okay, here we are. I added a little bit more chili sauce, a little bit more beef stock, and a little bit more salt, and just kept mixing it and stirring it and tasting it until it tasted good. Well, acceptable. The salt enhances the flavor, so I used to think you shouldn't put salt in anything, but now I realize you almost need to put salt in everything. And I'm wearing some of the food. So the next step is really just to assemble the pie. One step I forgot. Before you put the pie together, you have to actually mix some of the chili sauce with your beef. So I'm just going to take a few ladles full. And actually, if you do this the day before and you put it in the fridge and you just let it sit in the fridge for 24 hours, these flavors really meld and marry together really, really well. I did almost forget to show you this. So I just put in 4 ladles full. And I don't know that anybody measures anything when it comes to Mexican food. At least my mom never measured anything. Everything was by taste. So that's what I'm doing here. And I think it needs some more chili sauce. Let's see.
Oh, it's raining.
It's a mist. It's rain in Arizona. Yay. Okay. Add a little more. I just want it nice and red and chili deep. Okay.
First player that saw gas 2 years in a row, not even Tiger.
Outstanding. Go Sheffy.
And
He didn't hear.
he also set a course record for shooting to come back down 5 strokes.
He was down 5 strokes yesterday. Outstanding. Go Sheffy. Okay. So now I have all my pieces and parts ready. Now the next step is to take some of the masa, which I have here. It's kind of like lasagna. It's just a big even layer of this across the bottom. So I will take a spatula and smooth this out. Now Steve wants a really thick layer of meat. So here we go. Just spreading this chili meat sauce all over the middle. Just layering it like a casserole or lasagna. Looking good. So we add our last layer of masa and spread that over the top. I'll show you when I've done that. We're having a discussion about tamales or tamale pie.
Yes.
Ashley's mad. She said I didn't leave enough. She said I didn't leave enough for the actual tamales. But they're so little and they're pre-packaged and it takes a long time to fix those up. And then you have to unwrap them and throw away the husks. So I just think this is easier. It's like a big lasagna.
It takes like 10 minutes maximum.
So I'm just putting olives on the top. And when you make tamales, you usually put the olive, pitted or non-pitted, inside the meat layer. I'm just putting them on top. It does add that little bit of salt, which is delicious. And this way, if you don't like it, you just pick it off before you eat the rest. So this is my little decorative layer before we cook it. Okay, how to make tamales themselves. I was guilted into this. So this is the corn husk, the hojas we call them. And you have to really soak them in water so they're nice and soft. And you pull it out, you want a big one, and you find the rough side. I think this is the soft side. This feels like the rough side. So put the husk this way, big side toward the end of your palm, and put your masa. My mom likes about an ounce, or half an ounce. She likes tiny little tamales. Nobody else does. So we're gonna make ours a little thicker, a little bigger. So you just spread that out. I think my spoon's wet, that's why it's happening. Now, we'll put in some of the meat. There's the meat. Into the center. Since Ashley doesn't like olives, normally you'd put 1 or 2, usually Spanish olives. I have Kalamata, but they still taste good. So the next thing is to fold it, which really is to fold over one way, fold over the other, and then fold it up. Like this. So you just make them and stack them until you're ready to cook. It's funny, this is how I remember doing it when I was a little girl. My mom and my brother forgot. They said, you have to use a steamer. You can use a steamer. You don't have to. I'm sure they didn't have steamers when they started making tamales. So I have about an inch and a half of water in the bottom of this pan. I'm going to put my tamales in here. Usually if you have enough and you have a big enough pan, you don't need this basket, but I don't, and I don't want them to tip over. So we'll take these, put them back to back, and stand them up. So your pan has to be basically tall enough to fit these. And
you can't pack them too tight. You need room for the steam to circulate.
Well, that's what this is for, yes. So I put it in here. I don't know if you can take a look at it. Where's the rest of my mess? You see the rest of my mess. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to cover this, and what we do, can you see that? Let's take this off. So we have it here. I'm going to put those on the stove. First, get the little boil going, then cover it and steam it for about 45 minutes until the corn masa looks firm. So there it is in the oven, 350 degrees. I actually forgot what time I put it in there. I'm not measuring, but like I said, when this masa looks like it's done, and actually what I found is if you put a toothpick in it and pull it out like you would with a cake, and it comes out dry, that's a pretty good measure. Okay, taste test, here we go. Let's see.
William, will you do me a favor? Go get the Pepsis from downstairs.
Oh, delicious.
No.
I hope you enjoy.